Let me start off by saying today that if you are impacted in the Southern California area by the fires, of course, I'm very, sorry and, concerned. Obviously, I'm in a fire area myself. I'm not actually in a fire zone, even though I'm right next to a wilderness area. Our area apparently is green enough or something. I'm not sure exactly how that is all figured out. But in any case, you may or may not know if you're on X and or if you watched the video this morning, that I've spent the last 3 or 4 days doing a tremendous amount of research, receiving a tremendous amount of information and trading of ideas on X with regard to the fires, methods of firefighting, methods of fire suppression, methods of hardening buildings, etc. And a couple of things I just want to say about that, and then we'll get into the regular news. Number one, it turns out, so I had a conversation this afternoon with a fire marshal who specializes in hardening of resources, hardening of buildings and homes, and also has a tremendous amount of knowledge about all the rest of the things associated, obviously, with firefighting. Turns out that the video that I did this morning was 100% right. So if you're interested, you live in an area that's impacted by wildfires, if you know somebody that's impacted, or could be impacted by these fires, have them watch that video. Brian Wong and I will do another. Brian Wong is involved in that video also, and he has some background as well. Now, what I'm going to also say is that he and I are going to work on a second video on Tuesday that'll bring into the picture some additional information that I picked up when I talked to this fire marshal, and additional information that Brian Wong has also gotten through research over the last couple of days. And my guess would be that between now and Tuesday, when we shoot it, we'll even know more. I can assure you that this is a comprehensive set of information that we provided this morning. That if you go on my X threads and my X account, you can find 90% of the information is there in one form or another over the last few days, and you can see it under my profile. I'm telling you, it's comprehensive. It goes all the way from the leadership down to the methods of suppression in advance, the things that can or cannot be done, to methods of maintaining water reserves, or increasing the amount of reserves compared to now, to whether salt water can be used, to hardening the targets, to the methods and the uses of equipment that can be used better than the equipment that's being now. It's been quite a journey these last few days, but I just want to point you to the video this morning, as well as to my X account, if you'd like to learn more, and pass it on to friends of yours who would be impacted if you're not. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on elsewhere. Well, speaking of the fires, Elon Musk, of course, when there's an emergency, he always looks for opportunities of how he can help. Yeah, does it help his brand? Of course it does. Does it help the specific brands of the products that he's offering in service to these areas? Of course it does. But I don't think that's his heart. I think his heart is, I've got this equipment, I can make it available, and it's going to help people. So what he's done in Southern California is he's sent a bunch of Cybertrucks with Starlinks to various locations throughout LA that have been impacted by the fires, where there are problems with power and or with communications. And so he's set those up in these neighborhoods where he's learned that they need some additional help. And of course, the Cybertruck can provide the power, and the Starlink can provide the communications. He then packed these Cybertrucks with a bunch of food and beverages to help people who are otherwise been, leaving their homes and looking and having issues, firefighters as well, etc. So anyway, thank you, Elon, as usual, for coming in and participating in the situation here in the LA area. So that even as Elon has been slamming the leadership here in California, I'm sure you would guess that he's not happy with the DEI elements of what's going on here, or with the leadership of our governor, our mayor. He has also, been helping out at the same time. So he's giving and he's taking. So I'm been slamming the leadership, and the fire marshal that I spoke to also was slamming the leadership. There are reports, not sure how accurate, that the Model Y Juniper is doing very well in China, and that the old version is still being sold side by side. Of course, the new versions won't be arriving until March, So those individuals who need a car now and want to get, pick up a car immediately are going to have to get the old version to the extent they're available. And I don't know anything other than that. I just know that these are not even 100% that we know these for sure, but it sounds as if both versions are being sold simultaneously. And then the new FSD version, so a complete new update went out to everybody today. And that's my understanding. I'm only reading. I didn't go look, actually. I didn't even look on the phone. But apparently a complete new update went out today. And in this update, there was a new version of the 13 for the 4 AI, the version 4.4 AI folks. And then there's a new version also of the version 12 for the 3 hardware folks. Some people are saying that should be 3 AI and this is 4 AI. Anyway, however you want to do it, that's my understanding is that those have gone out. So I've been looking for any new videos or any new reports about those new updates, but I haven't seen any as of yet. All right, so this is by the way, this is Randy Kirk. Hit the like and subscribe and notify and join Patreon. And by the way, I sold another Cybertruck bottle opener the other day. This is, we're halfway into January now. Thank you very much. Keep on sending those orders. I've still got plenty. And I'll be selling them all year. They're available on Amazon for $29.95, or you can get them from me for $25 or even less. Just go down to the information below if you want to find out how much they would be, depending on how many you want to buy. The paper of record, that would be the New York Times. It used to be. I think now the paper of record, if you will, the paper of record would be X, but the established paper of record for old people who still buy newspapers or care about newspapers has finally acknowledged today what economists have known for a very long time. Mass immigration affects working class wages. Oh, who would have thought? Well, now that the Democrats are going out of power, it's okay to say what's obvious. I see. So, according to to this report coming next week, the New York Times will be reporting that water is wet. From Alex Pfeiffer, I guess he's the columnist that put this up. The New York Times editorial board finally admits Biden's open borders have hurt American workers. The current surge in immigration will slow the pace of wage growth for Americans without college degrees over the next few years. Well, thank you very much, New York Times. That was from Mario Nawfal, by the way. He's the one that put up that entire thing. Okay, this is a big week for everything, for earnings and for reports coming, that are going to impact the economy, tell us about the economy and impact the stock market. We'll start on Monday, late in the afternoon. When I say that, 2 o'clock New York time, we will have the monthly U.S. federal budget. Last month it was negative 12 billion. They're thinking this month it will be only a negative. I'm sorry, that was last month 129 billion negative. I'm very sorry. This month it'll drop down a little bit, only 75 billion negative. Well, we'll see. That's the estimate. We don't know what it's really going to be. We'll find that out on Monday, and I'll report on it either with Larry on Monday afternoon or I'll report it Tuesday morning. All right, then it really gets interesting on Tuesday. We begin with one of my favorite reports, the NFIB, National Federation of Independent Business People, their optimism index. Now, remember, this is a survey. This is not, stats. This is a survey, but I usually find it to be very interesting. I usually dig deeply into it. Last month, the survey was upticked a little bit. It was 101.7. They're thinking it's going to drop all the way to 100. What people are hearing is, which Larry and I have been saying for like 18 months, there's 2 economies now. Small business, and by small business, I mean like under 500 employees, they're not doing that well. Maybe even bigger businesses like with 5,000, 10,000 employees, not doing that well. They're the ones that are struggling still in an economy that otherwise appears to be doing fine. Giant businesses are doing very nicely, thank you. Anyway, so the optimism may have shrunk a little bit. It was up last month. Why? Oh, because of Trump being elected. Looking forward to lower regulation, lower taxes, stimulate people getting excited about the economy again. So they're thinking it'll be down. I'm not sure that that's true, but we'll see. Producer price index. Now, this seems to be reversed this month. Usually the CPI comes out first and then the PPI, but this month it's the PPI first on Tuesday. Last month it was up 0.4% on the headline number. They're thinking that might have relaxed a little bit to 0.3%. That'll be interesting. And on the next three, there's no estimate. So on the core, last month it was only up 0.1%, and that had been fairly steady for a couple of months. And again, no guess. PPI year over year on the headline up 3% was last month. And then the core year over year was 3.5, and again, no guess. So, but PPI, that obviously, the NFIB optimism index won't affect markets very much unless it's really something extremely radical in that report. But the PPI, that could definitely impact the markets. I think folks have given up on any chance of a Fed cut in the January meeting. I think the next meeting is in March, and the indicators are, what I'm hearing, I didn't look it up, but the headlines seem to be saying that those who vote on this kind of stuff as to what's happening, that maybe one cut the entire rest of the year right now. I think is, this kind of estimates this early with only, you just don't have enough data yet to know what the Fed is going to do the rest of the year. Yeah, I don't think we can say. I think the key, as I keep saying, is what happens in the first 100 days of the Trump administration. That's what's really going to impact. But in case that wasn't enough for Tuesday, the Fed Beige Book also comes out on Tuesday, and that can definitely impact the economy. Or impact the stock market. And so we'll see what happens with the Fed Beige Book. So that will come out though at 2 p.m. So that'll be something that I think Nicholas and I will be looking at on Tuesday night and seeing what was said in the Fed Beige Book. On Wednesday, PPI was the day before. Now we have the CPI, and obviously it can impact markets. So here is the guesses and the last month numbers. Last month on the headline was up 0.3%. They think it will be again. That's way too hot. If it's that hot, the market's not going to like it. Year over year, last month was 2.7. They think it's going up to 2.9. That would be hot. I don't have to tell you, right? I think you got it. Core CPI, though, was 0.3 last month, and they think it'll only be 0.2, and that would be cool. Now I'm looking for the just right? Okay, so last month core year over year was 3.3. They think that'll stay the same. So there you go. There's the just right porridge. No, that would actually still be too high, but at least it's not going up. Now, we don't know if any of those guesses will be anywhere close. Well, we'll see what happens on Wednesday morning. Then we have a bunch of Fed presidents talking. 3 of those will happen on Wednesday as well. So what could go wrong? It could be, a great day. Anyway, Thursday morning, we have the regular initial jobless claims, which last week were quite subdued. This month, they're thinking they will pop back up a little bit. Really, the number would still be good if they're right at 210,000. Then we get the retail sales number. Last month, it was up 0.7%. They're thinking it will only be up 0.4% this time. I'm thinking, well, obviously, that's got to be December's retail sales, which would be Christmas-oriented. So we'll see. If you do the same thing minus autos, they're thinking that's also 0.4%, which suggests that autos would be about 4.4% also. Last month, that number was 0.2%. The import price index last month was up 0.1%. They're thinking that's going to be down. Gosh, I don't know why that would be. I'm trying to think real quick. Nope, I don't know. All right. Philadelphia Fed manufacturing survey comes in. So, this, like I said, this is a chock full week. Philadelphia Fed last month was down heavily, 16.4%. This month, they're thinking it'd be down additional 6. That would not be good, but it would, maybe the stock market will like it because it's bad news. Although it's not the part of the economy which is really creating any inflation. So anyway, probably that would be bad news for the market as well. Business inventories, which I don't care about, they're thinking that'll be up a little bit, 0.1%. And then home builders confidence will also come in that morning. I don't know if I'll have time to report all of that on Thursday, but if not, I'll get home builders confidence. later that day with Jeff. They're thinking that will stay steady at 46. So home builders, of course, right now are looking at those inflation rates. I'm hearing all kinds of things. I'm hearing so much chatter. I think for once I don't have a good clue on what direction housing is going to go. I do believe that there's going to be markets like Dallas, we talked about that the other day, that have overbuilt a little bit and they're going to see prices drop a bit. But there's other places in the country that prices are holding on just fine. And overall, I don't think there's going to be a rush of people trying to buy a house right now, whether new or used. But I do think that there will not be any less either because people need to move. And interest rates, while they're high compared to what they were a couple of months ago, are still just not that high. So I think it's going to be a normal year. That's what I think. I could be wrong. But how that impacts starts will be on Friday morning. Last month's starts were at 1.29 million. They're thinking that'll actually bounce up a bit. And, housing starts, generally speaking, permits are going to give you some idea of what's going to happen. And so I think permits were up, so they think starts will be up. Building permits, though, however, their guess is those are going to be down fairly substantially from 1.51 million to 1.46. So there you go. We will see how accurate all of that turns out to be. Then we have industrial production numbers on Friday as well. Those are looking to be up, they think. That one would shock me. They think it's going to be up 0.3%. That would be a shock. Capacity utilization, they believe, will be coming in at 77, which would also be up, now, the only reason I could think it could be up would be that after Christmas, maybe there'll be a little more buying of stuff to fill the shelves, but I would not count on that. Okay, then we get earnings, lots and lots of earnings coming up this week. This is bank earnings week. So you get JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, and Citigroup all reporting on Wednesday. I'm sorry, you missed KB Homes on Monday. So one more indicator, one more data point from the home businesses, of what's happening with homes. Then on Thursday, you get Bank of America, U.S. Bancorp, Morgan Stanley, and PNC Financial. So between those 2 days, we should really know what's happening with the bank world. I saw at least one report that suggests that they're not expecting any trouble. That overall we should have a good beginning to the earnings season, at least with regard to the banks. Then on Thursday, we also have J.B. Hunt, which is a trucker. And you know that I'm always looking at the truckers to see what the tonnage looks like and how things are going. It gives an indication of the overall economy, at least in the matter of goods. It doesn't really have any much help for services. So at least on the good side, it will give us maybe some idea if anything's getting better in that regard. United Healthcare also reports on Thursday. Of course, their CEO was killed. How that might impact their numbers I don't think it's going to have much impact, but we'll see what happens on Thursday there. And then Friday, there's nothing else. Nothing on Friday. I thought there was something on Friday, but if I did, I messed up. All right, so where are the markets now? Let's start with Tesla. And Tesla is actually down $4 in the after hours at $3.9080. It has started out a little bit in the green, and then it's come down. I have no news, no suggestion, no indication of why that would be that I can tell. Maybe we'll see in a minute. Tesla has been going along with the market for the last few days. It's been really following the market, not even like it 2 times like it usually does. It's just kind of going along with the market. And there's nothing zip news on Tesla today that would tell me that it should be down. And again, 390, 391, that's where it's been. So this is not shocking. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at bonds. Finally, we're seeing a little rally there. The 10-year is, the yields are up 1.1. I'm sorry, down, did I say up? Down 1.1. The 2-year down 1.2 and the 1 month unchanged. So basically that is a little bit of the right direction, actually putting us at 4.472. So still above 4.47 though. So that's not much relief. Okay, let's go ahead and look at oil. That was up strongly last I looked. They're still talking about the whole thing with Russia, putting on these new sanctions. And so it is up. We just lost it. Oil is up $1.54. We're now at $78 for Texas Intermediate, 81.25 for Brent. That is about $3 normal. I don't think this is sustainable. Once Trump comes into office, I think on day one, they're talking that he's going to do 100. He's going to sign 100 pieces of paper on his first day in office, having to do with immigration and all kinds of other things. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of those have to do with drill, baby, drill, and natural gas like crazy. And I'm hoping nuclear as well. Brian Wong and I are also working on a special report on nuclear because it turns out there are 2 or 3 companies right now that are fast tracking in anticipation of the Trump administration reducing the regulatory hurdles that nuclear has to go through. And he and I will have a special report on that someday next week. Natural gas up another 5.87% at $4.22. We've got gold just a little bit down. It's still at 2007.12, off $3. Silver still well over $31, 31.24, but down in the pre-market 0.24%. Copper, same 0.24%, but $4.29, which is pretty much in the middle of its recent range. Bitcoin up 748 at 95, 177. And on the equities. So why is Tesla down? Well, this might help us a little bit, but they're all down. Dow down 0.02%, $10, 10 points. S&P down 11.75 or 0.20%, and NASDAQ down 0.21. All down, but not that much. And Tesla's down a little more than that. So we'll see. We'll see in the morning if we can figure out what is happening with any of that. Okay, so what do we got? I am planning to be back with a show at about 8:30, maybe 7:45 if I could do it by 7:45. Might be 8:30, and maybe I won't. I'm not sure. I want to talk to you about the bonanza on Optimus that nobody's talking about. And I guarantee you, nobody's planning for it. Zero. And it's a lot of money, significant money. And so that's what I'm planning to talk to you about later this evening. And if I don't, maybe I'll throw it in as part of Monday morning. Anyway, and then tomorrow's normal after the bell, followed by Larry Goldberg at around 5 o'clock, and then Brian White at 7:45 as we end the football season. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Well, the season. Then we get the playoffs for a couple of weeks, but yeah, and the Super Bowl. All right. Let me know in the comments below if there was something I missed that caused Tesla to go down like that in the early going of the overnight. I'm going to just check it one more time to see if it's still doing that. It is pretty much, it looks like it's still loading. Yeah, exactly the same, no change since we looked a couple of minutes ago. All right, like, subscribe, do Patreon, buy Cybertrucks, enjoy your day. It's been great. Even though all of my teams, every single team, 5 in a row now, I'm not going to Vegas. No, 4 in a row. We have one more game to go. I'm not going to Vegas anytime soon. This has not been a great weekend for the fans, at least from my perspective. Remember to, I know, I'll put that card up for that video that I did about the fires. Really go look at it. If you or anybody you know is impacted, it's got directions and advice for how to harden your home. We'll have more of that later this week. Seriously, there's the card right there. Okay. All right. It's been great talking to you.